what internet is. I want you to show me. Oh, I want to know what internet is. Boo-doo-doo-doo. I want you to show me. Internet. What's up, Internet? What's going on? How you doing today? Where did my thing go? There we go. There's my chat. It went over that way. What's up, Internet? How's it going, everybody? It is the middle of the week, the very center of the week, the gooey nugget, the nougat, in the middle of the week. Probably the caramel center, I would guess. If I had to wager a gamble and find out what Wednesday normally is, it's probably the caramel at the very middle of the week. Although you guys know I prefer chocolate and peanut butter ice cream over any kind of caramel or any kind of week for that matter. I'd rather just have ice cream and not have a week at all, right? Ha ha! Huzzah! Welcome to the show on a Wednesday. Good to be here. Good to be here, and good to see all your bright and shiny faces. First to the chat today, Mr. Frank Dominguez, followed by Oddball Aquatics, Pixelated, Mike Howie, Mike Howe? I don't know how to say anybody's name, so if I get it wrong, don't hold it against me. James Leiser, Fish Girl from Connecticut, Richards Tanks, Alyssa Bentley Pascal, Candy Overhauls, It's Nature Man, Gone Mad, Will's Aquariums came and had to leave already. Ricky Ranchu. Oh, I like that you got the, I like that, what am I looking for here? I like that you got Ranchu in the name. I like that. I like you got a fish theme going on. DMC of the Sea, Gary Duncan, James Handel, Handy, Greg Jones. Is it baby day yet? No, it's not baby day yet. You've got 7 more weeks before the baby's here. Brianna, good to see it. Alyssa Bentley says, Ben and Jerry's peanut butter caramel fudge core ice cream. Maybe. I'm not a huge fan of the Ben and Jerry's personally. I don't like that's not my favorite brand. I feel like they put too much into the ice cream. There's too many things, other things that they put into the ice cream. Does that make sense? Food critic. I don't know. What is that, French word? Why would I know? Why would I know French? I don't know French. I don't even know German. But today, our video is in silent German. Today's video is a silent German film brought to you by Dennerle. If you don't know who Dennerle is, go look them up. They're dope. They're awesome. They hosted Corey from Aquarium Co-op and myself from the Corvus Oscen, however you say it, show. They hosted us to come out. Oh, check it out. I got a book from them right here. Dennerle, these guys. They hosted us to come all the way out to Germany and film some stuff and go on some tours and things like that. And this is sort of... So I guess to blow the top off of it, so Stefan Hummel is the plant hunter. He's their plant guy who goes and gets plants. He also helps run the warehouse there. And let's be honest here, Stefan Hummel pretty much has a part of what my dream job is. And I want to talk about that first and foremost. But that's where the video's from today. So when we get to the video portion, that's who it was brought to you by. I don't know. I'm not a sales guy. I don't know how to make sales pitches or whatever. I don't even think this is a sales pitch. I was just trying to tell you who hosted it, where it's from, what's going on. Silent German film. Whatever, I don't know, and we shall move along. Anyhow, so what triggered my brain was a Stefan Hummel it basically has a third of what my dream job is. And earlier today, while I was working on building some stuff, I was thinking about it because I had yet another internet troll, which is just the nature of being on the internet, whatever. But I think the context of it was what kind of spurred the moment of thought, I guess. It actually triggered something in my mind. Obviously, Internet Troll Person is already banned, so it doesn't even matter. Don't ask who it is because it's a huge waste of time. I already banned them from the channel because I'm done with unreasonable conversations. But the reality of it is that the trolling was based around the idea that whatever I do is not my job. You know, it's been based around, and I've heard this from a bunch of people recently, so it's not really that weird. But a lot of people have been like, I don't understand. So you're going to build a new office, you're going to build, you're putting in new fish tanks, you're doing this, you're doing that, and you got a baby on the way? And I'm like, yeah, yes, I've got a baby on the way. And I'm also doing other stuff also, which seems to boggle the minds of people out there. And I don't rightly get it. And maybe it's a little bit strange to people, but my initial response has been, they're like, I don't understand why you're taking on stuff. I don't understand why you're doing stuff. And I said, well, you know, my response has been, should I just quit my job? And, you know, the reality is that the response I get from a lot of people is like, you know, screwing around and making videos and occasionally doing a podcast here and there is not a job. And I will remind some people out there that may or may not know or whatever, like maybe you're new to the show or whatever. I pretty consistently do a Monday, Wednesday, and Friday show here. I also travel up on Tuesdays to do work with Corey and stuff up there. And we used to do the Real Fish Talk, so we were doing 4 podcasts a week, plus the 3 to 4 videos that I film and edit a week. And, you know, the reality is that if you don't think that just doing that is a job, I also build things. I also maintain my own fish room. I also paint paintings. I also do, I cook dinner every day for Victoria. I do quite a few things, and yes, I'm going to incorporate our baby that is coming into this world into those things. And my question has been like, yes, I've got a baby on the way. And my response has been, should I just quit my job then? Should I just not do my job? Right? Which seems odd, right? Because they're like, no, you're only going to have time for just work and stuff and changing baby diapers and things. You're not even going to have time to sleep, you know? And I'm like, okay, well, I don't really have time to sleep now. So I definitely am going to take care of the baby, obviously. I'm going to take care of the other responsibilities I have, but should I just quit my job because we're having a baby? Or should somebody quit their job because they're having a baby? I don't think so. And the reason I bring this up is because I believe when people bring this up to me, I think it's that because in their own life, they dropped the ball somewhere, you know? It was like the quarterback threw you the pass. You had it in your hands, and then you just dropped it on the ground. Maybe a different sports analogy for you. You had the croquet mallet in your hand, and you swung it, and you let go of the croquet mallet, and it flew across, and it landed in the punch bowl. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not 100% sure what analogy might get it across for you. Maybe you went to college and you got a poli-sci degree and you got out of college and realized that you didn't want to be a lawyer and you have $200,000 in debt and you don't actually want to be a lawyer, you actually want to be a carpenter, and now you're trying to figure out where you went wrong in your life. I don't know. I don't know exactly what it is that specifically fuels these people to be super angry and kind of lash out and just kind of trash talk or whatever. To be 100% transparent to you guys, my dream job consists of many things, okay? What Stefan Hummel does in the video portion today is a portion of what I want my future to look like. Yes, I want to grow and help distribute aquarium plants to help spread this hobby throughout the United States. I also want to do agricultural projects, which I do on a small scale right now. I also grow aquarium plants on a small scale right now. I would, yes, like to do a podcast 5 days a week with better editing and better equipment and stuff like that, which that's what I'm kind of doing now. I would like to expand on it and change some things. I would also like to do a better produced videos, which slowly but surely over the years, I'm doing better and better produced videos. Have I reached my goals yet? Nope. I certainly have not. Would I like to do more and more paintings? Yes. And do I do paintings now? Not every single day, but I do it as much as I possibly can, right? So I'm going to keep doing that. I also like to do photography and stuff like that. I would also like to expand on a few other things. I most likely someday I probably will be utilizing and operating some kind of small cafe, and hopefully in the spring months we'll be maintaining a whitewater rafting company. Yes. And in the fall, I hope to be helping people go out on hunting trips and stuff like that. So, yes, there are a lot of things that I would like to do in my life. There are a lot of things that I'm pretty darn good at doing. And I'm going to continue doing them, and I'm going to continue doing them as best I can. Sometimes things take the back burner, like this painting back there. It's just waiting for its time for me to come in and splash some paint on it and do the things. Now, the reason I bring all this up and yammer on at you guys for about 15 minutes or whatever is that I feel like the people that bring those comments are the people that have dropped the ball somewhere. And if you are somebody that are having those thoughts and you're having that stuff, because if that stuff is rattling around in your head, there is a possibility that it might be time for you to make a change. And I can say from my own standpoint, from my own point of view, I can at least relate to some part of that, to some part of your life or my life or whoever's life where mine was there. If we go back 1,598 days, okay, I could tell you that's exactly how I felt back then. That is exactly how I felt 1,598 days ago. Why do I say that? Because 1,597 days ago, I got sober and started making the big changes in my life that I wanted to do. Right? It took a lot of time. It took a lot of effort. I had to take a huge break from YouTube. I had to just basically walk away from YouTube for almost 2 years. All right. There were a lot of things that I had to do. I had to go to therapy. I had to go to meetings. I had to talk about my feelings. I had a lot of things that I had to do to go, wait a minute, I need to take a 180 in my life, right? And figure out what's going on with my thing. So I can relate to people that are coming at me with those kind of upset commentary that wants to tell me, that's not a job. That's not what you do. That's not what people do. Okay, got it. I know. I am not. I used to say stupid things. I get it. We all used to say stupid things. And maybe those people that are saying that right now are just in that point that I was at a long time ago. And I get it. I understand that. I just hope, the hope that I have, is that at some point in time, those people can make an evaluation of their life and hopefully make some of the changes, not necessarily the specific changes that I made. It doesn't have to be that. It, of course, wouldn't have. The specific changes that I made are specific to my life, but maybe they need to make some changes to their situation so that they can move forward, right? And maybe I was all the way up here. Maybe I was at 99th percentile, going crazy and doing a bunch of stuff I didn't want to do. Maybe these people are only at 60% and they maybe just have to make a couple little accommodated changes, right? Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. You know, that's the thing. But my hope at this point in my life is that I hope they do get an opportunity to make those changes. I hope that they have people in their lives that can help them make those changes. You know, for me, it was going to hang out in, dirty old church basements with a bunch of crusty old guys, which I would put myself into that club too. So I'm not talking down to those guys, but some of those guys are self-appointed crusty old guys, so I'm not making fun of it. It's just inside joke I didn't need to put out there. But had to go hang out into, like old church basements and stuff like that, and get my head on straight and figure it out and get a perspective from somebody else's point of view. But maybe that's not what they need. Maybe they don't need to get sober. Maybe they just need to go back to school or something. I don't know. I don't know what they got to do to make those changes. But I just want to make it 100% apparent to you guys out there. I take this very seriously. This is what I want to do, and I'm going to keep doing it. And I would also like to make the direct comment in this show. There's only 102 people watching today, which is awesome. It's cool, by the way. I'm not like downgrading how many people are watching, but the 102 people that are watching today, if you feel like you have a real negative comment to make to me, feel free to send me an email. I always say my email address on here, joel@darkstararts.com. It's fairly easy. If you don't have the time to write it down or something like that, I don't know, maybe whatever you have to say just doesn't need to be said. But those kinds of comments just get deleted. You know what I mean? Like I give most people the benefit of the doubt. We all say some dumb things sometimes, so it's kind of strike one, and then you say it again, and then it's kind of strike two, and then you just after warning, you hit strike three, then it's time to go. I'm sort of a 3 strikes you're out kind of dude, as far as it goes, and that's just the way that I operate and stuff. And I feel like that was just something I wanted to get off my chest. I don't know. Was it show filler? Did it hook anybody in? Did it inspire anybody to go jogging today or eat an apple? I don't know. It's possible. Maybe yes, maybe no. I don't know. But let's check out with the chat here. Oh, Nando Manuel says, what age am I crusty? Well, I've known 20-year-olds that were crusty, so I think it spans all ages, I think. I think it's more of a state of being than anything else, right? Yes. Gareth Doyle says, what if I want to send you some nice compliments? Those are very much appreciated also. Those are all very much appreciated also. Yes, feel free to email me at any time. I have fixed my phone situation so I can actually email from my phone now again. I used to have, because I only had the ability to email from my computer, which is a long story, and you guys don't really need to know. Jay's Aquatics asking, Joel, did aquariums help you get sober and stay sober? Well, considering that I've had aquariums in my life in some iteration most of the years that I've been around, I wouldn't say that aquariums got me sober, but aquariums definitely did get me through some seriously depressing parts of my life, for sure. I do not even question that a little bit. But aquariums, do they help me with my sobriety? No. But do hobbies and activities help with sobriety? Yes. So maybe there is a little bit something there, but I would never say that it was just aquariums that helped me with that. Honestly, going to meetings, going to therapy, doing that kind of stuff, and doing the work and working on that is what did it. Is what helped with my sobriety and has helped maintain it and helped put me in a position where I'm not totally freaked out to be somebody's dad, basically. Like I'm in a spot where I guess 6-7 weeks I'm going to be somebody's father. I am stressed out. Not to say that I'm not stressed out, but I'm not pulling my hair out. I'm not freaking out. I don't feel like I'm going to have a heart attack or anything like that. And you know, that's I attribute that to my sobriety, to you know, the program that I work and all that kind of stuff, and 100%. I see some royalty in the chat. Simply Beta. is in the chat. What's up, Simply Beta? Good to see you. That's amazing. I see Greg Jones. I see Nick's Fish Room. I see James. I see a bunch of people talking about the Aquatic Experience. That's cool. Are you guys excited for the Aquatic Experience? Because I'm excited for the Aquatic Experience. I will be there. Greg will be there. Simply Beta will be there. I don't know if Bentley will be there. I'm not sure. There's going to be a lot of people there. I know Flip Aquatics is going to be there. I know JH Aquatics is going to be there. Daryl Deemer is going to be there, which is totally cool. I can't wait to meet Daryl. If I met Daryl last time, I 100% apologize. Because I'm thinking now maybe I did. Or maybe I didn't. I don't know. I don't know. But I'm very excited. And Valerie says, Joel, if it wasn't for you and Corey, I would not have my fish. That is awesome. I am so happy that I've been able to help some people with their fish, with their plants and stuff like that. That is awesome. That is just the whole thing. It totally makes me that's kind of what makes me kind of even get on here today. Admittedly, I was pretty frustrated earlier, and I was just like, maybe I won't do a show today. But I do realize that I am going to miss Friday's show. Friday will probably be rescheduled to a different time. So those of you that like an earlier show on Friday, let me know in the comments down below, or something else. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure because I have a dentist appointment that can't be moved on Friday. Which is not the worst thing in the world. I don't mind going to the dentist. I just haven't. I skipped my last appointment, which is dumb, and I really shouldn't have done that. But it's a new dentist, too. So it's going to be like new dentist poking around like, oh, man, check out your mouth. Right? And it's going to be pretty exciting. So I don't know. Simply Beta says, I picked up fish keeping when my kiddo was an infant. Hard? Yes. It's hard keeping up on hobbies with a kiddo, but it's silly just to give up on everything. Yeah, there's no reason to give up on everything. It's ridiculous. Jay's Aquatics is asking any tips for staying motivated to make videos and tips for new YouTuber. Okay, I actually do have a bunch of tips for new YouTubers. Let's say you're somebody that wants to get into YouTube. My very, 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 very first tip, make 40 videos. Make 40 videos. And every person that I talk to about this is like, what are you talking about? Can't make 40 videos. This is ridiculous. Let me tell you something. If I had had that advice, I would be have really remiss to have turned it down. And there's a pretty giant YouTuber that I asked for advice back in the day, and he very snidely gave me the response, just make the best thing that you can, and people will like it. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's great advice. I asked you about editing software. Right? You know, kind of one of those situations. But the first advice would be to make 40 videos. Depending on your budget is realistically what software you'll get. So that really just comes down to, you know, but more or less just budgetary reasons. So if you can handle, you know, Premiere Pro or something like that, fantastic. If you have a Mac, you could probably use iMovie. You could use whichever one you feel most comfortable with. I happen to utilize Sony Vegas. I do realize that it's owned by Magix now, but I use Vegas Movie. What is it? What do they call it now? Vegas Pro. They just call it Vegas Pro now. It is getting better, but it is certainly not as good as a lot of the other editing software out there. But that's always just kind of user opinion. Get a decent camera and get a really good microphone. If you can't get a really expensive microphone, you could get a lapel microphone so that you can mic yourself up and you can sound really good. Those only cost like $5 or $10 or something like that off of YouTube or off of Amazon. And then just start shooting and making videos. Write a script. figure out your shots, figure out what you're going to do, figure out that stuff ahead of time, write it down. If I can actually turn, hold on, I wonder if I can turn the camera. See that whiteboard over there? It literally says upcoming video topics on it. Right? So I literally have a whiteboard on my office door with a whole bunch of whiteboard pens on it. So there's no lack of pens, that's for sure. And I write down anytime I come up with a topic. I don't try to write it in my computer. I don't try to put it in a thing. I just get up, I walk over there to the whiteboard, I write it down. Boom. Now, the reason I say make 40 videos is that if you can get to the point where you have made the 40 videos, you have figured out how to make the videos that you want to make. You can probably go back and fix the very first one that you made or the 10th one that you made or whatever. But the reason I say 40 videos, let's say your release days are Wednesday and Saturday. Just whatever. 2 videos come out every week at the exact same time, 7 a.m., 10 p.m., whatever your release time is. And you can upload them all to YouTube and have them automatically be uploaded to go live at the exact time that people are tuning in on a Wednesday to see your show or your episode or whatever you want to call it. And you're always ahead of the game. So as you're making new videos, you upload those. You make new videos, you upload those. You put them up to schedule, and you just keep going, and you just keep going. And if you do encounter a week where you're like, man, I just cannot even figure out what to do. I need to take a break. I need to do this. I need to get my creative juices flowing. I need to figure out what I'm doing, blah, 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 blah. I need to go on vacation with my uncle or something, whatever you got to do. Then you have time to do that. Everyone's going to run into problems. I'm one of the, I don't know. I was in it right when it started out. I guess it says I'm a senior member or something on the thing, whatever. But I'm in a Facebook group that helps new creators that come in. And the other day, one of the new creators, right, that had come on there had said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to upload 1,000 vlogs in a row, one every day. Okay. So he put out a video that he was going to do that. And he, I was like, you know what? This is the worst idea. Find a different idea. This is a really bad idea. And he's like, no, this is what I'm going to do. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go daily. And I was like, okay. And here's a perfect example is that, Joey Mullen, that guy, he has over 1 million subscribers now, but you can't deny that. He's got a lot of people following him, a lot of people subscribing. He decided to go daily, and he's already missed a bunch of them. So that guy has every incentive in the world to have everything ready to go, right? And he's obviously he should be making good money doing it. And he has every incentive in the world to hit his daily thing, right? And he's missed a bunch of them. Whereas this other fella, who's got 98 subscribers, has decided he's going to do 1,000 videos in a row. Like, yes, he might be super excited for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 8 weeks. Maybe even 40 weeks. 40 weeks only puts him a quarter of the way there, basically, right? And maybe he breaks his ankle because he's trying to make these crazy vlog videos and make them crazier and crazier every single day that goes by, right? And he's probably just churning out the same stuff that isn't very good necessarily. He's only got 100 subscribers or something like that, and he's not making any money from it. So he's just spending money relentlessly. And, I'll give you guys a perfect example. I have run out of space on this computer right here. I have 6 terabytes that's full right now. Maybe okay, I don't even know where it went. I was looking for it. Should be right here. Well, I have a spare hard drive around here somewhere, but I have to put another hard drive in this computer, and I had to order another hard drive today because one of my SSDs, one of the hard drives on my computer is corrupted, okay? So basically one of the hard drives has a problem. So I need to replace that hard drive, okay? And so here's the problem. That's going to cost $197, which is kind of stressful, but it's okay because I sell some old stuff off, some old equipment off, and I'll be able to pay for it with that. But still, that's just $200 just so I could fix one of the hard drives on here, right? So, you know, that's just another example that, like, that guy has decided to do every single day with no real incentive necessarily, and it's going to take a really long time, right? So, and it's going to be super easy for him to miss the mark, you know? Let's say he gets to 900 and then misses 4 days because he got, I don't know, what's something that's really weird. Let's say he got pink eye because he has a baby and he somehow got pink eye from his baby, right? That might, who knows? Who knows what would happen there? He's going to miss like 4 days, or is he going to make the pink eye quadrifecta, right? I'm not sure, but it would really disappoint his fans if he's going to do 1,000 in a row and then he can't hit that mark, right? So it's really kind of an iffy situation at best to try and go down that road. So that's why I always give people ideas to get your software, start making your videos, make a bunch of them, and have them all ready to go before you even start hitting upload. Almost every creator out there will be like, yeah, just hit the upload button. Like, okay, if you have 10 years experience in making videos and stuff like that, yeah, maybe just hit the upload button if you already have a huge background in it. But typically most people that are getting into YouTube don't. They don't have a huge background in it. Their background is normally in something else. So, yeah, that's the advice that I give. But I don't know. This isn't an advice show for that, right? Aquaballs says I couldn't even download editing program on my laptop. Yeah, you might not be ready at that point. You might have to edit, like M. Howie says, I edit and uploads from his phone. You might have to do a phone situation. There are a lot of different ways to do it now. So I couldn't say that there's one specific way to go about it. I do know that, you know, the weird thing is that Corey and I were talking about it a while ago, that like if somehow we got some, let's say just we got some huge amount of money in order to build a studio, like what would we do? It's like, well, we'd probably just buy all Macs, all new equipment, and just go that route. But that costs a ton of money. So does anybody have that money? Nope. So we go the other route. We do PC because we get a lot more value out of our money for a PC. That's the big argument, is that like PCs work better per dollar spent. It's not that PCs necessarily just blow them all out of the water, although often they do dollars per dollars, okay? You know, realistically. If you could spend an unlimited amount of money, you just special order the Macs, you know, from the company. M. Howie with the $5 super chat says, thanks for the YouTube advice. You're 100% right on the 40 videos. The farther ahead you are, the more time you can spend editing without pressure. That is right. You know, as I mentioned earlier in the show, I'm under a lot of pressure to produce for you guys. I spend a lot of my time editing and doing that kind of stuff. So, and I don't think that I'm necessarily getting better at it at this point because I am just compressed. My schedule is just so compressed that I wouldn't say it's necessarily getting better. At some point in time, I am going to figure out how to, subcontract some of the editing, not necessarily all of it, but I would like to hire somebody for, like 2 videos a month or 1 video a week or something like that. And we'll see if that's possible. Who knows? Jay's Aquatic says he's got 12 videos up. Dig it. That is a good way to do it. Alvin says, sorry, I haven't been updating the podcast with current episodes. Been super busy with work and issues with work. Alvin, I fully understand it. That's why you and Dan should get hooked up so that there's 2 of you and not just one person. Let's see here. At Leslie's Fish Room, just talk about what you love. The rest will come naturally. Yeah, that is that's pretty much a thing. Just write down a script. Just 100%. Just write down a script. If you're going to start doing a video and something, write down a script. Write it out what you want. Write out what you want to do, and it will make it a million times easier. It will just make it so much easier that you're like, I'm here to talk about blah, 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 right? I don't know. I mean, I write out a bunch of the stuff that I'm even going to do on the live stream. I don't write it out manually anymore. I just write a list in my head now of what I'm going to talk about and like the points that I want to hit. But that's just because I've done so many live streams now that it just doesn't stress, it doesn't stress me out. But I used to write down in a notebook what I was going to talk about every day. And until it just got easier and easier to come on here and do the live stream. But I do spend a lot of prep time about the things that I'm going to do, the things I'm going to, the things that I'm going to work out in the future. But if I could give anybody just the blanket advice, write a script about what you want to do. It's Nature Man says, in a previous live stream, you mentioned a software for rendering videos before posting them. Can you refresh me? As I mentioned earlier, I use Vegas Pro 16 is the one that I use. Another perfect example, as I was mentioning earlier, there was another $300 this year. Just 2 months ago, I was using version 15. Version 16 came out, and I basically had to buy it, right? I basically had to buy the version 16 because if I waited past the month, so they had during the month it was released, it would be $300. If I waited after that month, it would be $700. So I basically just had to buy the upgrade right away because if I'd waited longer, it would have been so much more expensive. I don't know what's going on here. My phone's blowing up. Oh, okay. It's my lady. She's okay. She's talking about training and work and stuff. Let's see. So, yeah, it's really one of those things that, the costs and things really do add up. So that's also one of those things. It's like, arguing with certain people about, like, doing this stuff, whether it's a job or a hobby or this or that. I know a lot of people that work on car transmissions as their hobby at home, But I know a bunch of people that rebuild transmissions as their job. Is there really a difference other than I don't know. I guess somebody's getting paid or whatever. If I worked at Pixar doing some of their filming and editing, that'd be a job. I happen to look at this like a job. I just don't get paid a lot, which is fine. It's just kind of the thing. It's just the nature of, I know a lot of people that work at 7-Eleven and they don't get paid a lot either. So, whatever. It is what it is. It's all good as far as I'm concerned. Having a good time. I definitely got to go to Europe because of this twice. So even if that's just the deal, that's pretty dope. You know what I mean? Like I'm appreciative of that in its own right. Once for Fluval and once because of, check this out. Shameless plug. Generally. This is my favorite aquascaping towel, by the way, guys. I don't know. I got this from where the video is from today. I took their dinner lay towels. They said I could take them, so I didn't steal them or anything. And I really hope to get some more of these towels, because these are some dope, fresh aquascaping towels, and I bet you want one, because it's embroidered, man. Look at that. It's embroidered. It's a snazzy towel. I almost feel like I don't want to use it for aquascaping because it's so nice. But I got 2 of them, so maybe if I end up, one of them like catches on fire or something, maybe I'll preserve the other one or something. Let's see here. What do we got? Tater Haters here says, Joel, what's happening with Real Fish Talk? New job lets me listen to stuff while working, and I've run through them all. Honestly, I wouldn't really be the person to ask about the Real Fish Talk. I know I'm one of the 2 personalities on there, but I guess maybe the explanation would be, I think Corey and I thought that it would do better than it did. I guess that would be the way to put it. And we realistically, after, I forget how many episodes we did, like 50 or something like that. We did like 50 episodes, and it was really engaging with the exact same people. So it really wasn't reaching any new people. It really wasn't, I mean, it wasn't even reaching like all of Corey's audience. I don't even think it was reaching all of my audience, honestly. If you think about it, I looked at the, hold on, let me see. Let me check this out here. Where's the, hold on, this will be just a second. I don't want to like, what is this thing doing? What? Why are you, oh, here we go. Here we go. I hope there's no autoplay on there. Okay. Yes, so we're at 17,720 subscribers, right? That's how many subscribers we got on here now, right? Just on my channel. And I think Corey was at, whew, buddy, like he's at like 225,000 or something crazy like that. And there was only about 5,000 people watching it. So I don't know. And the thing is, it was just the same every single week. So I think we did it for about 7 months. We did 50 episodes. And I think that's a long enough kind of test strategy, I guess, to see like how many people are really who were really into it or not. We might come back to it at some point. I'm not sure. In the interim, it's really on hold until we have like a really good guest. So if we have a guest that is in town, we will do a Real Fish Talk. Like when we had Chris Luke in town, we did an episode there. So I think that would be, I think realistically that's like where it's at right now, is if everything is set up and ready to go, all the equipment is there. It's just a matter of like, it just really wasn't growing. You know what I mean? Like we had about 5,000 people watching when we started doing it. And after 7 months, we had about 5,000 people watching it. And that's not to like say there's anything wrong with the 5,000 people that were watching it, right? Like I'm not devaluing those people, but the reality of what it is, it was taking both of us a whole entire day. Excuse me. Gosh, I got a frog in my throat today. I was out building some stuff yesterday and was like breathing in dust all day. But it's not to devalue any of those 5,000 people or anything like that. We definitely want to continue to engage. Corey's still making videos on the Aquarium Co-op. I'm still making videos over here. Jimmy's still making videos on his channel. So there's still a lot of content. There's a lot of stuff going on. And we're going to keep going. We're going to keep moving forward. A lot of people says in the chat right now, from Alyssa, Elflower1, Foster's Fish. A lot of people are saying that's how you found me, is through the Real Fish Talk. And that's awesome. I really appreciate that. I have implored with the audience here, and I have implored with the Real Fish Talk audience at the time, that if people really wanted it to be out, we would see the numbers. If people really wanted this show to be that great, or that to reach a bigger audience, I would see shares, right? I would see shares of the content, and YouTube tracks that. YouTube tracks how many times your stuff gets shared as a total number. And I gotta see, hold on. It's in here somewhere. I don't know where it went. I don't know how to do it on the mobile very well because I got a new phone. But okay, I can't find it on the phone. But the last time, let me see. No, it's weird on the phone. Hold on. Let me find it. I'll find it, and I'll let you guys know. I gotta go. Here's a tutorial in going to the Creator Studio. I'm not gonna actually show it. I'm just gonna illustrate it with my sounds while I'm talking. I have to go into the where is it? It's in here somewhere. Analytics. Where'd it go? It's in here somewhere. Sharing right there. So let's see. How many shares do you think we had on my channel right here last month? So this would be over the last 31 days. How many shares do you think went out? How many shares do you think went out? I'm wondering what you think. Out of 17,700, 720 people, how many shares do you think went out from all of the shows I made last month? How many videos did I put out last month? Last month I put out... I have to count it up because this thing is actually on my phone. How many do you think? So Frank Dominguez says 2. Jen Standring says 500. Let's see. Over the last month, let's see what we got here. So over the last 30 days, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 20 videos over the last 30 days I've put out. I have a total of 840 videos out, which is crazy. I'm almost getting 1 subscriber per video or something crazy. What is that? So 800, so 10, 21. 21 subscribers per video. Oh, man. A lot of people would say that's not a good ratio. But looking at the number right here, last month, out of the 20 videos, 183 shares. That's it. Now, here's the weird thing, is that the Real Fish Talk was actually... So you got 183 shares, which is not a lot. That's average of like 9. So if I have 1,500 views, or let's say from Tuesday's video, right? or Monday's video. Yeah, Monday's video had 1,500 views, something like that. So let's just go with that. Only had 8 shares out of 1,500 people, right? So it's that's kind of one of those things. Is that that's one of the analytics that you look at is like, okay, so the Real Fish Talk was engaging with like 5,000 people, and we're only getting like 10 or 12 shares per video. Then it doesn't really seem to be that like there's just not that many people that really like it that much because they don't really want to share it out. There's a slightly higher percentage of people that hit the like button. There's a smaller, or maybe it's a slightly higher, it's a higher percentage that will comment on something. So it's a little bit weird, but the analytics are there. Like they just are 100% there. Let me see here. I'm going to answer Johnny Zelaya's question. Oh, man. How do I do? Go to the home page. Hold on a second. Johnny, I'll get you a link. Come on now. Oh. There we go. Doot. Where'd it go? Where is it? Why didn't it? Why didn't it come up? It went and found it. Why? What is this? Why is this search thing so ridiculous? All right. Sorry, guys. I'm yelling at a website. It's unfortunate. I apologize. But Johnny is asking about how to add calcium to a shrimp tank, and I will show you as soon as I can make this link. I got to go to the link generator. I got to go to here because YouTube won't let me post a regular link because they don't want you to leave the website, right? That's another thing that YouTube gives you analytics for. Oh, you sent people away. So it's actually, okay, so full disclosure, I have an affiliate link with Amazon, Aquarium Co-op, amongst other brands. So I give you guys a link to something. Yes, if you go and buy stuff there, I get a small percentage of it, right? But at the same time, I get penalized by YouTube for sending you away from YouTube. So think about that. So think about that for a minute. Isn't that weird? Isn't that a weird thing that you have to deal with? So that's a lot of the stuff that Real Fish Talk had to go by the wayside. Corey and I were traveling for months, and I think realistically, I don't know if it's going to come back. I don't know if it's going to come back or not, honestly. I would say at this point, this isn't a yes or a no, but I would say it's 60-40, like not coming back. I would say it's leaning in the direction of we're probably not going to do it unless there's a guest in town. So, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, though. I don't know. I would like to keep doing it. Corey would like to keep doing it, but it realistically comes down to it utilizes a whole Tuesday. It utilizes a whole Tuesday. Even that show just being 2 hours long, we have to do the prep hour ahead, and then we have to do the prep after, or the wind down an hour after. It takes me 2 hours to drive up there. It takes me 2 hours to drive back. So you just start adding that up. It's a whole entire day that we could be getting a bunch of stuff done. So I don't know. There might be a new series of Corey and I making some more videos or something, but I don't know. Bob Kaler says, RFT started off with a couple of great guests and a large following. I've heard it discussed the perception RFT could never meet the same high bar for the first couple of episodes set and a lack of guests. I don't think that's necessarily, I don't think that's really how it went down. We had a bunch of guests come out for the launch. And I don't know if you guys remember building out the studio. I built that studio. I scrambled working late nights so that we could have it done because those guys happened to be coming into town. It wasn't so much that we had all those guests coming into town to launch the studio. They just happened to be coming into town, and it was like, well, if we speed up our schedule, we'll at least have the studio done while they're here, and we could do some shows. See, here's the thing. Like, as much as people would like to have conjecture as to whether or not it has a large following, or it was making money, or it wasn't making money, or this or that or the other thing, the analytics don't lie. Like, they don't, unless all of YouTube's analytics lie, right? Rich's Creations said, "You're making me stop watching because you haven't talked about the topic posted. Laughing my ass off. Good luck, bud." Thanks, Rich. See you later. Anyhow, as Johnny Zelaya says, you should move closer to him. If you want to buy me a house up in a super expensive housing market, cool. But Western Washington is the most expensive housing market in one of the most expensive housing markets in the United States. It's very expensive to buy a house around here, and Vicky and I bought a house in the South End that we could afford, and that's just reality. So if somebody wants to buy me a house with a shop up there and stuff, then let me know, because you could probably just give me $500,000, and we could probably just make something better than buying a crappy house in the North End. Because houses cost $500,000 up there. And I'm not talking about super nice houses. I'm talking about houses that were built in 1974. Stephen Pope has got to go to bed. He's got to get up at midnight. Whoa, that's wild. Either way, let's see. Bob Kaler says that was a perception of a lot of viewers had from this side. Okay, yeah, dig it. I dig it. I fully understand that. I see that a lot of people had that perception. It's just, the nature of the thing is that, like, looking at the analytics, it just went burp, and it never really did that. So maybe someday we'll do a different Real Fish Talk. A lot of people have said I should call in and do it remotely, and neither Corey or myself enjoy doing it that way. It is not a very good experience. We, for whatever reason, we can't get the lag to go away, so it's not like you're in the same. It's not going to be the same. It's not the same thing as actually being in the room with people. It just, even if we got the lag perfect, it's still like, oh, you're a camera and I'm a camera and I can see you over there and I can see you over. Yeah, it's just too weird to do that. But as you guys know, we got to get to the video portion of the show. It's starting to get late in the day, and I've got more construction to get done before, and it's getting dark out early, and I have to get Mr. Chips to the veterinarian's hospital so that he can get his booster shots so he don't get no rabies. Mr. Chips, Mr. Duty Man, he's got to get his shots. I think he knows it's coming. I think he knows the shots are coming. But either way, I got some construction to finish before it gets dark, and I got to get the dog. So let's go to the video. What did I title it? Now that the people that are frustrated are gone, let's talk about what the title was all about, right? It says, you want to make money with aquarium plants? Do you? Do you want to make money with aquarium plants? I will tell you this. About 10 years ago, when I started to get deeply into the idea of an aquatic plant experience, I guess, aquascaping, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. As you guys know, I have a minor agricultural background. It's something that has always intrigued me, and it's something that I have definitely researched in the past. But about 10 years ago, when I started getting into aquascaping and figuring out what was going on, I started to think, hey, wait a minute, I bet you could probably make money at this. Now, the very first pointer I will give to anybody, if you are trying to make money growing aquarium plants, the first thing that you need to do is get something for free, right? So you're going to have to get something for free. Now you start to think about the elements. Think about the elements of growing plants: fertilizers, water, substrate, lights, CO2, wherever else you want to go from there. The pots, the bags, whatever you want to do, you're going to have to get something for free. Okay? What was that? Oh, the dog farted. Oh, you little fart bitty.
Oh, you a good puppy.
Bitty Brown's down here and just farted. So I might die. I might die from the dog farts. That's 2 shows in a row we talked about farts. I'll probably get some more hate mail and a bunch of dislikes. Did you guys notice that Monday's show got a tremendous amount of thumbs downs? I'm not 100% sure why, but whatever. It is what it is. But you're going to have to get something for free. Now, today's video actually highlights some of that. Now, they don't necessarily get anything for free at Dennerley, but you will notice, first of all, the immensity of this greenhouse, right? It is just fantastically huge. And as I mentioned earlier on, or maybe I forgot to mention earlier on, these are some of the castaways from me trying to make the video. I've been trying to make this video for weeks now. I lost all of the audio from Stefan Hummel. So I had him mic'd up for an hour and a half, and the batteries died in my audio recorder, which, yeah, that was awesome. So I had a dead microphone on Stefan Hummel the whole time. It basically was on long enough for me to turn it on, hit record, turn on hold, give it to him, show him to put it in his pocket, and then it turned off probably 15 seconds after that. So it's a real drag, but I'm trying to figure out what to do for this warehouse, or for this video. But this greenhouse here, something that you will notice, there's even metal halides up here, right? You see these halides up here? Okay. There's big old halides up above there in the rafters to supplement the light in the wintertime. But what is one of the elements that they're getting for free from growing their plants? That's right, the sun. So more often than not, and this is like 10 months out of the year, most of the lighting here is free. They will, they're using the free sunlight that is coming down. They actually also have some solar panels that run those metal halides during the winter months. So they actually charge up a battery bank, and then they're able to replenish it with just a short amount of sun. And then, so that actually the halides themselves, they're not actually using electricity in order to do this stuff, but they're actually using solar electrical. So they're not actually spending any money on that except for just the initial setup. So you start to think about it like, okay, so all of the lights that they have, they really only need in the wintertime, but most of the other growing months and the busy months and stuff like that, as they run up towards the very busy season, which is December, by the way, they run up this huge stock, and then they blow it all out in December. And then January, they slowly start to rebuild, but obviously those are the months where there's the least amount of light. So they've already sold most of their stock, and then the rest of the year they're using mostly sunlight. So they actually are utilizing stuff that they can get for free. Now, if you are in the United States, the United Kingdom, any first world country, as you know, almost everything that we utilize, we get charged for at a fairly exorbitant rate, whether it be water, whether it be electricity for light, electricity for pumps, electricity for this, electricity for that, gas for a heater, electricity for heaters, whichever method you guys are going with, something is going to have to be free. If you guys will notice, a lot of the plant growing companies that have started in other climates in the U.S. eventually move to Florida. Now, the reasons for that is if you're farming in Florida, the water is essentially free. Also, there's a bunch of aquaponics ponds there that you can buy a business that went out of business, where the infrastructure is already built. You can just buy in and get ready to go. I think a lot of people out there have been following one of those YouTubers out there that's decided to build a greenhouse, and the costs are spiraling out of control. That's why you buy an old business that used to be that built all the infrastructure. Like, you go down to Florida and you buy a business that spent all their money building out all these buildings, and then you just move in, change the sign, and you're ready to go. So that would be another example. If you could move into a property that already has all of the stuff at it, right? That would be another example of getting something for free. If you were to spend $400,000 building a bunch of greenhouses and a bunch of stuff, guess what? You need to remake that $400,000. If it's a loan, you're going to have to pay back that plus all the crazy interest off of a loan, right? So it's another example would be to get yourself in a position where the infrastructure is already built, right? Another thing to keep in mind, if you're somebody that is paying for city water, if you're paying for a direct route city water and you're not pulling water off of a well, first of all, you are going to have to, if you are pulling water off of a well, remember, you're going to have to power the pump somehow. So you have to figure out how to keep that power coming free. Okay, or you're going to have to figure out a place where at least you could either get water for free or at least water for really, 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 really cheap. And there is a possibility that you might be able to do some other stuff super cheaply. You guys will notice if you look up a town called Wenatchee, Washington, which I'm very familiar with, and actually if I was going to open a big giant greenhouse just on my own somewhere, Wenatchee would probably be the spot, because even though water rights are kind of difficult to come along, electricity is essentially free in that town. So a lot of the stuff I'd be able to do operationally would be, the electricity is almost free because there's a dam, hydroelectric dam called, is it Rocky Reach or the other one? I don't remember which one it is. I think it's Rocky Reach Dam. But there's a hydroelectric dam basically right there in town, and that's what supplies all the electricity. And essentially the town worked out, or the city worked out a really good deal that they would be able to get free electricity, essentially, to the people that live there. So even businesses rake that in, and that would be probably a potential place that I would consider moving to if I was going to do something along these lines. Now, if we get to the water and how the water is done at Dennerleigh here, all of the water that lands on this greenhouse and onto the properties actually gets collected into a giant cistern that is underneath the floor, everywhere underneath here. So all of the water that goes to feed all these plants and stuff at Dennerleigh is rainwater. Very rarely do they ever have to supplement with other water. All the water that they water in here overflows, backflows back into where they store the rainwater. They basically have they're like these giant swimming pools. Would be the easy way to just, envision them in your mind. We actually didn't go there because Stefan was like, it's really dark and there's just, it's like water, you've seen water, which I'm like, all right, I respect that. But all of the water that goes in here and into this property is rainwater. It's falling. It's all the stuff that's falling from the sky. They do have water hooked up for plumbing and the regular stuff, and they can occasionally supplement some of the water if there happens to be a drought, which I did ask about, and they're like, oh yeah, we can supplement if we need to, but that's like really, really rare where this warehouse is located. So all of the water that they're using is essentially free because it's just falling from the sky. They're not paying for it. They're just collecting it, which is legal in Germany. And you can see these tables here with all of the pots on them. You can see all those pots on those tables and stuff like that. Those are all actually essentially aquaponic tables or hydroponic tables, whichever you want to refer to them. I don't know whether there are fish or not in the system to tell you. I know that there were fish up here in all kind of around up here, but I don't know if they're necessarily into the system, and I don't want to speak wrong about something that I don't personally, take care of or operate myself. And I know that I saw a bunch of stuff that had a bunch of fish in them, but I'm not sure how they were plumbed in or not. So I can't tell you if this is actually just hydroponics or just aquaponics. So that's my bad. But that's another thing I would like to hit on is that I am so lucky to have gone here. I am like so wildly appreciative to have gone to Germany and toured a lot of the places that we're at there. And I would implore Dennerle to get us out there again. And the reason for that is that this is personally a learning experience going out and going to all these places. These videos that we make, these are essentially like the scout videos. These are what like if we were working on a movie set, we would go out and make these videos as how does this set look so that we could come back later and film there a whole bunch because we'd know exactly what was going on, what the place was like, and all that kind of stuff. So I do really hope to go back so that I could just really focus on the storytelling, really focus on the stuff that I really want to show you guys in depth. It's like Aquarium Dietzenbach is a perfect example. Like I didn't realize the questions that people were going to ask after the fact, and then it's just kind of like, oh, you know what? I don't have any real strong footage of that or a real strong, easy explanation that could really let you know what, an answer to somebody's question personally. But I do know now what I'm looking for from those locations, and if I go back, and to be able to tell a bit of the story and stuff like that. So, hopefully I'm getting better and better. Now, back to the topic at hand. It basically, so as I've illustrated here, obviously this is a gigantic scale, but bear in mind, these are who you're competing with if you're going to get into selling plants, right? These are the types of companies that are going to be really in competition with if you're selling plants, selling the specific stuff. Obviously, as a local guy or gal, you'll have a real good local connection that will allow you to make sales on a person-to-person basis, which will go really well. But how are you going to scale that up to be able to try and get 40, 50, 60, 100 orders out a day? That's really where, from a business standpoint, if you're trying to make money, that's where you'd want to scale to. So let's say you're at 10 orders a week or something like that. Your goal would be to get to 100 orders a week or 50 orders a week or something like that. it really starts to boil down to, if you want to make money doing this, that's the stuff that you're going to have to take into consideration. Now, the profit margin is going to be low. As some people were asking earlier, oh, am I going to get free plants? Well, you know, you would either have to legally harvest plants if you make sure that you have the permit and the license and all that to go harvest plants, or you're going to have to start out with just a few. You know, propagation is a part of the game, but as this portion of the video right here, and I have the whiteboard turned on, so I need to turn that off. Hold on a second. All right, so this portion of the video right here will give you a great example of some of the issues that an aquarium plant growing operation has to deal with. See these plants right here? See these plants right here, and see these plants back here, okay? These are all Pinnatifida. Hygrophila Pinnatifida. Let me clear this out. Now, all of these plants right here are too big to send out. You know why? Because they're too big to send out. They are too big to send out. These right here in the middle that actually had this blanket on top of them, or whatever you want to call that. It's like a it's like a military blanket. It's like the worst thing you've ever seen. It's, you know, it's not really a blanket. It's just to help keep moisture in. But you can't sell. They can't send out this Pinnatifida right here. So all of this Pinnatifida, and by the way, to everybody in the chat who's mentioning that they'll take it. Yeah, I was like, send me this whole pallet, bro. Like, send me this whole thing. Obviously, it's pretty expensive to do that from Germany to the United States, so it was pretty much the main laugh that was going on. But here's one of the issues that plant growing companies run into often. Now that these plants are too big, they can't ship them in their standard shipping containers, right? And on top of it, you have to charge more for these big giant plants. So you can't send these out as the normal plants because they're big giant plants. Well, why not? Well, because now the smaller plants should be cheaper, right? So you do run into a lot of crazy issues like this that we just don't think about as regular people just kind of wandering around on our day-to-day basis. So what do they have to do here? They have to trim all of these plants back down. All of these plants, they have to trim them all back down and regrow them so that they're like these right here. So that when they do get ordered and they do get shipped out, they are the legitimate size they're supposed to be, and they don't have to change anything like the packaging or the branding or the price or any of that kind of stuff. And this is the normal things that most people don't think about on a regular basis that has to be dealt with. But, you know, we don't normally see it. You know, we don't normally see this kind of stuff like on our end. But you can definitely run into issues like this if you're not ready for it. And this is something that could easily run a smaller business into a disaster situation. Is that, let's say you send out these giant plants and they are growing, you can't just let them not grow. So as I mentioned earlier, it's great to be able to sell stuff to people locally. You got that one-on-one connection. You got that kind of stuff. But scalability is what you're going to start to run into. You know, the perfect example is, okay, let's say I've got 50 of those Pinnatifida plants. They're growing. Well, I have to sell them before they're grown too big. And, you know, once they're grown too big, then I have to break them back down and spend more money on labor, time, water, lights, all that kind of stuff. And you're going to have to spend money to handle all that situation. And a lot of people aren't ready to deal with it because they're just not ready to deal with this kind of stuff. So try to help people like think about and highlight some of the issues that these, you know, the growing tables like this are the best way to do it if you're going to try to break into this as a small business or something like that, my recommendation would be to be growing one type of plant. Almost everybody will jump in and think, oh, I'm going to grow 20 different kinds of plants, and it will end up being a disaster because you're hardly ready to be dealing with 20 different, fertilizer mixtures, temperature mixtures, all that kind of stuff, like how often they need to be watered, what the humidity is and all that. And there's just a lot of things that really need to be brought into to be accounted for. They basically just a lot of things that need to be accounted for and thought about ahead of time. So how much are the pots going to cost you? How much is rock wool going to cost you? Are you going to put them in rock wool, or are you going to put them in foam, or are you going to put them in this or that and the other thing? So there's a lot that goes into it, and I would recommend anybody to get into it. But as I mentioned earlier, the biggest point would be something from where you're at has to be free. Now, everybody lives in a different environment. So my recommendation would be figure out what's going to work best in your environment that you'd be able to get something for free, right? Like maybe you live in a place that's the right temperature for something, the right water quality for something, that you don't have to add fertilizers to the water, for instance, right? And then go from there and start out with one plant, one table of trays in a nice spot. Start growing those and start figuring out the pattern, writing it down. How long does it take for them to get grown out? How long does it take to get them prepared? How much does it cost to get them prepared? And can you handle it? Can you handle the scaling? Can you handle going up and getting your business going bigger and bigger and bigger? It's quite difficult. I hardly, I'm somebody that I would consider to have a lot of knowledge about this stuff at this point in time, and I feel overwhelmed. I feel overwhelmed by just thinking like, oh, I'm just going to jump in and just do it, right? Obviously, I'd be writing it down and being as organized as possible and do all that kind of stuff, but it is overwhelming to try and take into consideration, oh man, I got to think about 90 different plants and like how each species is being cared for in a proper way. And and there's just a lot that goes into it. So the biggest recommendation I have is, can you find some portion of it that's going to be free if you are going to try and make a profit from this? I don't know. We've lost a lot. Nobody really seems to be commenting. We had a whole bunch of people drop out. They got bored of my rambling. So let me answer a couple of questions if you guys got them. I'm starting to get a little like I got to go. Like I'm almost to the point where I got to go. I realize I've just talked for an hour and a half straight and nonstop, and I'm just almost to the point where I got to go. Just be straight with you guys always. Vexen Cat says, is that nasturtium I keep seeing? Can you actually use that in aquarium if it is? No, it's not nasturtium, and no, you can't use it in an aquarium. It's not fully submergible. Doesn't work. Candy Overall says pennywort, I think, and you would be spot on. That's one of those plants there is pennywort for sure. It's to come in these flat bundles, and then they eventually grow up. It's kind of interesting. It should be in the video. It should be in the video, the edited video when that comes out. Gone Mad says, get working on that nursery. Yeah, I definitely am getting to work on the greenhouse and stuff fairly soon. So I've got to get those two 120s in. That's part of the construction I got to do. I got to go add some legs and add some stain. I got to add some stain to the stands and stuff so I can get the so that I can get the 120s moved into the fish room, which means more construction can happen after that because my wood shop will no longer have tanks in it. And I guess I got to repost the 180 for sale again. I had a bunch of tire kickers, but nobody really was going for it. Ricky Ranchu says, how much does a local fish store markup on plants? Typically, the markup is 300 to 400%, honestly. It's honestly like 300 to 400%. So if you think about it in this terms, like if you see a plant for $10, like $9.99, essentially they buy it for like $250, something like that. which means the middlemen that bought it for $250 or that are selling it for $250 probably bought it for $1.50 or $1.25. And maybe they marked it up differently, but it's a little bit confusing. It just depends business to business and how they order. Maybe they order in bulk. Maybe they do this. Maybe they do that. Swag Skywalker. Nerd Boy Aquatics. Okay. Does Stargrass do well in medium light with no CO2? No. Well, it might do okay. I don't think it would do well, though. I would make sure that you're giving it a good dose of one or the other. You could skimp on the light a little bit if you have a good amount of CO2. But if you have no CO2, you want to make sure you're giving it at least enough light so that it can photosynthesize without just having a deep struggle. Stargrass does need a fair bit of light to keep going. Fishbeard says, got a question for you. Have you ever kept a King Berta? Saw one at the local fish store and thinking about it. Yes, I used to breed king betas a long time ago. And yes, I call them betas and not betas. It's just a area nomenclature, When I was a kid, I called them betas, and I've always called them betas, so just relax. It's like yelling at somebody about their accent. It's a little bit weird. But king betas are pretty great. I've had good luck with some. I've had bad luck with some. I had some that were just super aggressive for whatever reason to the females, and you need to get a sizable female to deal with those ones, and that's going to be your biggest advantage, realistically, if you're trying to get into those and trying to breed them or anything like that. But other than just having them individual, they are just essentially exactly the same care-wise as far as this, your Dumbos or Delta Tails or anything like that. It really is pretty much the same. Fancy Tail Aquatics says, I have a business license, and you are correct. If I buy a plant or food, if it costs $2, I'll charge $8 or so, plus the shipping. Yep. It's pretty standard. It's pretty standard markup for pretty much any retail. It's really not all that different. But it is pretty, as any kind of plant farmer, if you're going to do a plant farm, you got to realize that scalability is going to be important, because you're not always going to be able to make retail sales, right? You're going to have to make, at some point in time, you're going to have to hit some of the wholesale markets. And if you're not ready for that, and if you're not thinking about that as you move along, then that's something you're definitely going to overlook, and it's not going to go well if you're taking the time to do that. Jen Standring just got a ton of chats all at once. Oh, that's right. Sometimes I got to ask for the chats because my voice lulls people to sleep, and I think they might fall asleep with their thing on. Snowflake3981 says, Joel, do you have recommendations on super easy plants to put in my 10-year-old nephew's new aquarium? I'm setting one up for his birthday. I would just get, personally, I think a good plant for like 10-year-olds would be just a bunch of different types of Java ferns. So if you get like some trident, some variegated, some narrow leaf, some wide leaf, a bunch of different Java ferns, those are going to be kind of the best bet. As long as there's like some ambient sunlight, which is typical for like a 10-year-old's tank, then I think you'll be pretty good. I think you'll do pretty well with most of the Java ferns and stuff like that. And I think just because there's so many varieties of them, it's sort of a got to catch them all Pokemon kind of thing. And maybe that'll get them into it. Maybe they'll get them into it. Like maybe you get 2 or 3 of them, and then... Oh, wow, you just super chatted it. I'm answering your question, and you just super chatted it. Oh, no, maybe that means I shouldn't answer anybody's question until they super... No, I try to answer everybody's question. You guys know that. But thank you for super chatting it. I'm in the middle of answering it. I would go with there's so many types of Java ferns. I think that would be the best route to go. Anubias does have some slight issues with it these days, and and there are many more different types of Anubias, but there have been some issues coming here and there and here and there with Anubias rot and things like that. So I would definitely personally go the Java ferns, and then as things kind of expand from there, I would think about some water lilies, stuff like that. Tiger lily, whatever, things like that. Just some rooting bulbs, because you can almost always get rooting bulbs from the store, even dry, even like PetSmart has those. Dan Squires with the £5 super chat. Go if you need to, but keep coming back, dude. Yes, I'll keep coming back. I know people get freaked out that I'm gonna be leaving. The schedule's probably gonna change. That's the only thing that I would, tell people, like, hey, you're gonna have a baby and stuff, and I gotta figure out the schedule. Got to figure out daycare, because I can't be screaming when my baby's here. So I'm one step closer to that. I organized a little bit more of the daycare thing. So we'll see how that goes moving forward. Big Germ 86 says, hit that like button to show some love, people. Show some love. Come on, baby, show me some love. Right? Hit that like button. Hit the share button. We talked about that earlier. We got to talk about the share button. We got all that kind of stuff. All right. Aqua Fuzzy says, just found the Let Go app. So many fish tanks for sale around me. Got to restrain myself. Yeah, that is going to be problematic. I considered getting on the Let Go app, and then I realized, like, nope, I don't need another Craigslist in my life. I just don't. Jen Stender, have you any experience with growing aquarium plants from seed? I have done a few from seed. I've done some Areocalum from seed. Let's see. What else have I done from seed? A few. Some Ludwigia, I think. Yeah, I don't know. I've done some stuff from seed. I wouldn't recommend buying the seeds online. I've noticed that has come up as a scam far too many times recently. It's like one of those things, like you'll get chia seeds and you'll be like, oh, cool. And they'll sprout and you'll be like, oh, they're sprouting. Maybe it's dwarf baby tears. Nope. No good. Nope. Then it works out not great. So I've seen too many negative reviews for me to go out and order any kind of seeds for the aquarium hobby. I haven't seen anything that's really trustworthy. The thing that I would look for if you were trying to go along those lines is some tissue culture stuff. Obviously, sometimes that's more expensive. Sometimes it's cheaper. I don't know. But that is a great direction to go if you can find that around. Simply Beta says, Anubias acuffifolia from seed is on my bucket list. It might take a year or two for it to mature to that point, though. Yeah, I've done some Anubias in the past with them flowering and stuff, but I find just growing Anubias and propagating it and splitting it is much easier way to go, personally. It's Nature Man says, yep, he's a robot that's done everything. I haven't done a lot of everything. I just happen to be a guy that gets wildly involved in pretty much everything I do. Like, I go bananas for it. I go buck wild. I literally have... Hold on. I literally have a welding hat on my desk because I took weekend courses to learn how to weld. I also took weekend courses to learn how to rebuild hydraulic systems on tractor trailers and stuff like that. It's just the nature of how I am. Like, I cannot get interested in something and just leave it. But there's a ton of stuff I don't know, and I'm gonna keep learning. I got my Pinnatophyta in. I am growing it. We'll see how it goes. It seems to be doing pretty well so far, but it is kind of a slow one. So there is that a little bit. Wes Barshinger is asking if I have a drone. No, I don't have a drone. I've never even got to fly a drone yet. There we go. There's a perfect thing. I got to hold Jimmy's for a second. But I've never even taken one off or anything like that. I'm interested in it. I looked at the software and stuff. It looks like some programs that I have messed with in the past as far as some flight programs and stuff like that. So I don't think it's too crazy difficult. But no, I haven't been able to ever afford a drone. It's because of basically things like having to buy a new hard drive today. So, there goes $200 that could have gone towards a drone. And to be brutally honest with you guys, I don't make like a Peter McKinnon type videos and stuff, which I think some people are like a little bit pissed that I don't in a certain way, or maybe they're disappointed. Maybe not pissed. Maybe they're just disappointed that I don't make videos that way, but I don't make those types of videos and stuff. So I considered getting a drone, and then I realized, I don't know. I think it's something that would probably end up sitting in its case more often than not, when I could just be working on getting better shots of fish tanks. Coran Bong Aquatics is here. What's up, all the way from Australia? In store, we are about to start breeding mosses for profit as a supplier struggle to keep it in stock. That is right. If there's one plant that you should for sure be growing, it's Java moss, 100%. You should definitely be growing Java moss. It's the one that's never on the list. It's always out. You can't order it ever. What is the fish painting that's going on in the background? It's not a beta, but it's a secret. But it's not a beta. Jen says, my husband is like you. I just bought him a drone for his birthday who will become an expert at it before giving it up. Yeah, I'm kind of that way. I don't know. JH has 3 drones that hang from my ceiling and collect dust. Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing. I just don't even know how much I'd ever even use those shots for what it takes. And also, my house is in a flight path, so they're very low flying Navy jets flying over my house. I forget. I don't know. I'm not in the military, so it doesn't matter. But they fly. Their landing approach during the day is the weekdays. It's really only the weekdays during the day, and every once in a while in the evening. But that's when they fly their training missions. And you cannot have a drone flying around here when that's happening, because you're not only are you in FAA airspace, but you're also in the military situation, which can be good. I don't want those guys getting all mad at me. Anyhow, right before the end of the show, I want to give a big shout out to Jason Rayburn, brand new patronizer. If you guys don't know what the Patreon is a web page. Okay? Patreon is a third-party web page, which means it doesn't have anything to do with YouTube, doesn't have anything to do with anything else. It's its own web page. It's a third party. It's essentially crowdsourcing. So you guys hear NPR doing their fundraiser all the time, like, this is brought to you by listeners like you. Well, that's you guys over on the Patreon. Got 312 people. Jason Rayburn just joined the Oceaneers over on Patreon. Thank you very much, my guy. 100% appreciate it, and 100% appreciate all the other 312 or the other 311. Hey, counting's good. One. Anyhow, so thank you for the Patreon. Thank you for going over there to check it out. Thank you guys for throwing down your community posts on there. I will remind you to put your community posts on for Friday, because they get answered on that day and they get featured on the show, on the Friday show, which will probably be early. Mark it on your calendar. I'll probably have that thing really going up early enough. Like Ramosa tried making a bonsai tree thing with the Java moss, but it just kept getting covered in hair algae. Yeah, I know that. I've been down that road way too many times. But somehow it's growing on the smooth plastic of the Fluval Spec. Well, hey, you gotta do with what you can, right? That's for sure. All right, guys. Thank you very much for coming out today and hanging out. Thank you for everybody on the Patreon. Big shout to Jason Rayburn, brand new patronizer over there. Along with this month, Jacob, Carmen, and Caton. Those all new this week. Thank you very much, you guys. CJ hit the button right behind my towel.